Good evening. My name is Logan Britton. I'm a graduate student in agricultural economics, and it's my pleasure to introduce your next speaker. Dr. Andrew Barkley grew up in the state of Washington, but his family has roots in the state of Kansas. Dr. Barkley obtained his bachelor's degree in economics from Whitman College in Walla Walla, Washington, and his master's and PhD from the University of Chicago. He started as an assistant professor with the Department of Agricultural Economics at Kansas State in 1988. And he has reached the rank of professor and earned the title of University Distinguished Teaching Scholar. Dr. Barkley has won many teaching awards, such as the Iman Outstanding Faculty Award for Teaching by the K-State Alumni Association, Council for the Advancement and Support of Education, Kansas Professor of the Year, and K-State's Presidential Award for Teaching Excellence. His research focuses on the wheat industry, implications for agricultural policy, and education methods. In addition to his teaching and research, he has led students to study abroad trips with his wife, Mary Ellen, to South Africa, Brazil, China, and other destinations. Dr. Barkley keeps students engaged through his jubilant greetings and enthusiasm in lectures, such as, "It's a great day to study the economics of agriculture," or "I love college so much I never left." After taking his agricultural market structures course at K-State as an undergrad, all the doubt from my mind was removed that I needed to be in this field. Through his influence, I too want to never leave college and become a professor of agricultural economics. And I would definitely agree with Dr. Barkley that every day is a great day to study agricultural economics. It is my pleasure to introduce my mentor and coach, Dr. Andrew Barkley, as he presents quizzes for enhanced teaching and learning.
Thanks, Logan. It's great to be here and see so many people I know. Great turnout. I want to talk about quizzes. I've been using quizzes in my intermediate microeconomics class for about 2 or 3 years now. And I wanted to do 2 things tonight. 1, share my experience with you, and 2, use quizzes as a metaphor for teaching and learning in general. I wanted to give you a little background to set the stage. I teach in agricultural economics, and this is our enrollment over the past 10 years or so, 12 years. You can see it's grown enormously, really. It's almost doubled. We went from about 250 to over 460, and this is probably because of 2 things. 1, general recession in the general economy, and a huge boom, record profits in food and agriculture at the same time. So economic theory would predict students would migrate towards our major, and they certainly have. It's kind of a fun problem to have, but it has, made changes for our department. Back in the day, I taught this class using active learning in a laboratory. I was teaching about 40 students each semester in a lab environment. We had a couple hours of lab once a week. And then once the class got bigger, we realized we probably need to give that up and move towards a traditional lecture. So that's what we did. In 2013, we moved to a traditional lecture, and I was a little bit reluctant to give up the active learning and the frequent assessment that I was using in the labs. So what I did was come up with an idea that I was very enthusiastic about: daily in-class quizzes. This is awesome, right? I marched into class on the first day, and I said, these quizzes, they're going to be based on previous class lecture. They're going to count 20% of the final grade. No excuses or late quizzes accepted. After all, the whole purpose was to get students to come to class and to review their notes, right? So, you got to be kind of tough about it. And this resulted in there was some anger, and not just the first day, but for several weeks. And these are Second Amendment people, if you know what I'm saying. I guess I took them out of their comfort zone. They really took me out of my comfort zone. I wanted to forget the quizzes. I was ready to just give them 20% of their final grade. But I stuck with it, and I realized I need to do 2 things that I hadn't done yet. I needed to explain why we were doing quizzes, and how to do the quizzes. So the why part, really, it goes back to working out at the rec center, right? If you want to get fit, you need to work out. The way our muscles work, when we actually lift weights, we're actually tearing the muscle fibers apart, and you need rest between those workouts in order to let those muscles heal and they get bigger, right? You need a workout with rest in between. So if you want to get fit, you need to do 4 workouts with a day in between rather than one single day of a 4-hour workout. Well, the brain, it turns out, works in a similar fashion. And under Jana's leadership, a lot of us have been studying brain-based learning, right? And brain works in a similar fashion. If you study a little bit every day with rest in between, that works a lot better than one session before a test. So I'm a big fan of frequent assessment. That's why we did the quizzes. I also needed to explain how to study for a quiz. They'd never done it before. So, I told them to study their notes. And that was something that a lot of them hadn't done, right? So we did the why and the how, and we stuck with it, right? So, we were working through some serious issues here. Quiz outcomes. After I did it for a few weeks, I noticed a few things. The attendance was nearly 100%, right? This thing counted. Oh, did I mention? This class is at 8 a.m., right? 8 a.m. Whoo! You get to know your students well if you see them pouring in at 8 a.m. The effort level was increased. The student learning greatly increased. These were just my observations after doing it a few weeks. But I still thought they were furious, and they were furious with me. But at the end of the semester, I decided to give them a survey. I really wanted to know, and I was ready to drop this project and, a failure. But I gave them a survey on the last week of class, and I was a little bit shocked at the result. There was unanimous, strong approval of the quizzes. They said that they had greater attendance than they would have otherwise. They said that they gave more effort, and they learned more. So I'm really excited about the outcome of these quizzes, right? And that's not all. There was a lot of intangible benefits or higher order quiz impacts. The course environment, the tone that was set was more serious. And that kind of rubbed off on the students in the lecture. The relationship between the instructor and the students. Every day in class I pass out a quiz. I talk to them, interact with them. I pick up the quiz, talk and interact. I grade these things. This is my favorite part of the week. Twice a week I grade their quizzes. Right? I give them feedback, reinforcement, encouragement, and motivation. Right? This constant feedback, this is a great thing. Twice a week they're getting feedback on how well they're doing. Knowledge about students. I understand their goals, hopes, dreams, and fears. If you ask questions not just about the content but also about the students, you can use that information about their career goals and their personal goals and include it in the course material as examples. That's a pretty good deal. So to wrap up about quizzes, I'd say what I learned, or to extend this to teaching and learning in general, I try to be intentional about every aspect of teaching and learning. This isn't just about quizzes. Every single thing we do. How many people are teaching this semester? When you're teaching, I say, think about every activity, the lecture. What's right about this lecture? What's really reaching these students? How can I improve this lecture? What's right about my assessment method? Could I do better with a different assessment method? Every single thing we do, it's worthwhile to reflect on it and see if it's working for you, try to improve it. After all, we have, the glorious job of affecting students' lives in a positive way. The more we think about, meditate on our teaching practices, everything from the lecture to the environment to the assessment methods, we can make our students better off for their whole lifetime. So I say find and use a teaching method that will inspire your students to greatness. And I wanted to end with a quote from Parker Palmer. I am a teacher at heart, and these are moments in the classroom when I can hardly hold the joy. Teaching is the finest work I know. Thank you.